we start losing our balance. And if you're not training it, you lose it in your 20s. If you're not training it at all, by 40s and 50s, you've been sedentary for your job and driving and all the stuff, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it comes back to the lifestyle, right? If you're not having that active lifestyle, then you're definitely not training balance. And
Oh, yeah.
so that's why there's a huge epidemic right now.
Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins, epigenetic human performance coach. This is where we discuss all things lifestyle, environment, food, exercise, work, mind, and social interaction as they pertain to epigenetic expression in a way that's relatable to everyone. So if you're ready to start viewing you as an individual, take control of your life and health, and get results, buckle up, here we go. Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins. This is the place where we talk about everything lifestyle and environment and how it relates to our genetic expression. Today is one I think is going to surprise you. We are going to be talking about balance. When people talk longevity, they think supplements and diet and working out, but nobody thinks about how important balance actually is. And my guest today, I actually met her probably about a month ago at a hiking expo here down in Denver, and went over and we just started chatting. We both came from the CrossFit world of many years, and she was into coaching. I was not, I was just into doing, but we definitely bonded. And I was telling her I had a podcast because if she's talking about balance, and she has a device we're going to talk about that I tried out because I have injuries on predominantly I've had a hip labral tear, I've had a glute med tear, both on that right side, stem cells in there, PRP therapy, TFL issues, you name it. That right side has been beat to hell and back. And so I have to do a lot of things that require balance and stability on on the legs separately so that I can train that back. And I've been using her device. And like I said, I'm going to have her talk about everything here. But understanding how important balance is as we get older, especially, I want my older listeners to tune in. Or if you're a younger listener, listen for a parent. But this isn't something that is important just to the older people. And Karen is going to give you some very really cool information that I think, like I said, I think is going to surprise you around balance. This is going to be a high energy, fun conversation. So I want you to buckle in. And I'm actually going to have my guest introduce herself to you today. So, Karen, I'm going to give you the floor, my friend. Tell everybody who you are.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me on your podcast. It really resonates with me because you talk about just overall longevity. And I think that's what everybody wants. But it's not about living longer, it's about living more in a healthful span, right? It's a health
Health
span, not
span.
lifespan, right? And so being healthy, what does that look like? For me, it's the four pillars: food, fitness, sleep, hydration, and then adding little stuff on top of that. But if you don't have the full four pillars like really sound, then nothing's going to be built upon that. So with food and fitness, that's where I started with overall my professional career, but I always had a drive on a personal level to understand that better because I grew up as a chubby kid and I, right? And a lot of people who are in that environment as a chubby kid, you're the last person to be picked for kickball or for the sports and stuff. And I actually went to fat camp and I learned some good habits. I learned some not good habits. But at the end of the day, I knew that food and fitness were pretty much
Mm-hmm.
number one and two on my list to really nail. Because when I did lose all the weight, which wasn't that healthy, but I was also 10 years old, you don't know better. And you learn along the way the tools in the toolbox that hopefully I'm actually a new mom and I'm almost 50 years old and I have a 2-year-old.
Who's
So
adorable.
thank you. Who I'm all about longevity now. I'm all about what can I do to be better in life. And I see my mom at 81, and all her friends are
Ugh.
so terrified of falling because they have. Some are not here with us anymore because of it. Some will never recover from a fall when you fall later in life and you don't have the bone density to support that fall, because that's impact. If you're not stable, if you're not agile, if you don't have the strength or the endurance to walk and get up, get down, all that, then falls could happen. And I'm just going to show you a quick reason why balance matter, kind of stats here. So before I get into the stats that are really scary and the age group that my mom's in right now, you lose your balance in your 20s, but you're also gaining balance when you're very young. And so you have to train balance along the way. And for me, I've been doing food and fitness for a very long time. I've had professional careers in both. And at the end of the day, I am all about products and giving the right tools in people's toolbox so they can train whatever they need to be, whatever they want to train. So whether that's how to eat more sustainably, not following a diet, or how to train more sustainably. I'm not training CrossFit right now. For me, it was not sustainable. So professionally, I've been in food and fitness in the CPG world, and I knew I just didn't want to do food products. I know too much about food industry and the costs associated with launching products in food. And actually, my grandfather started a toy company. So I've always been like kind of toy product driven in a way. And my fitness is my toy. It's my playground, right? And so
Yes.
along the way, after college, I grew up after I lost the weight and turned to sports. I grew up doing sports and I realized how important fitness really was. And after college, after playing lacrosse at CU, I turned to aerobics and step classes and body pump. But I grew up doing Jane Fonda along the way. So at 13, I knew Jane Fonda's DVD, right? And so then I started taking enough fitness classes and aerobics classes, and people were like, oh, you should start teaching. And so in my 20s, I think I was like 21, 22. So it's been close to 30 years or so
Yeah.
now. I've been teaching fitness and in all capacities. I went from spin, step, cycle, body pump, all that to CrossFit, to Olympic lifting, to all the things, right? And at the end of the day, my husband and I also owned our own gym and we trained along the way. I've probably taught 10,000 classes and workshops and over 100,000 people. And at the end of the day, I knew the foundation of anybody's fitness was about balance, in my opinion, because balance, the science behind balance, there's 4 pillars. And if you don't have those 4 pillars really nailed, then it's really hard to be balanced. And it starts with the ground up. And back to the CDC stats, I was like, okay, I was always traveling because I was a sales executive in my previous company. I was always on the road and I owned a gym at the same time. And I was like sick and tired of hearing that excuse of, I can't join the gym. I can't get to the gym. I'm doing this. I'm doing that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, let's keep it simple, stupid. Are you doing something 5 to 10 minutes a day? And what does that something look like? And if they're training balance, I think that that's the most important, because balance, the 4 pillars, is stability, agility, strength, and endurance. And if you don't have those 4 pillars down, you don't have good balance. But each one you have to train separately. So there's ways of training. And then, so I started thinking about balance and I started really incorporating balance into my programming at my gym. I came from the CrossFit world, and I didn't think, because it was an affiliate-based community and business model, that they had consistent onboarding throughout all the gyms. you train all your life to do at that level, right? And they're
Mhm.
doing it for time and reps and,
Yep.
under pressure. And so
Yep.
I saw myself get injured. I saw everybody else get injured. And I was like, we got to take it back a notch. We got to figure out at the foundation where people are weak and how to get them stronger so they can lift heavier, so they can do and go throughout life like not feeling
Easier.
pain. And yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and balanced, right? We think about balance like out there as is your work life balance, but it's also from the ground down and the ground up. And so starts with gravity, really. And
This is really
yeah.
funny. Very timely here. I hiked on Friday with a group of people. And the one gal, we're coming down this one snowy area, and it was pretty flat, but a little bit slippery. And she's in her 50s, and I don't know where to go. And I said, just go down that way. She's, my balance is so bad. And I said, you know what? I'm recording next week. I guess I'm balanced. And then she was telling us how she is learning how to ride a bike, and her boyfriend just put training wheels on. Now, remember, she's in her 50s.
Yeah,
She never
wow.
learned how to ride a bike. And she said, I still can't figure it out because I can't get the balance. And I was like, I have to tell Karen this because
Yes.
this is profound. If you aren't able to do that yet, where is this
Like mind body
showing off?
coordination. It's all these things that if you don't learn as young, then you're not going to riding a bike. Anybody that's saying of it's like riding a bike.
I
You didn't
used that
learn.
example. I did.
You didn't learn
Except
how
you'll
to
never
do
be able to
that.
use the example of it was, you'll remember it's as easy as riding a bike. She's
Yeah,
like, I can't ride the damn bike.
yeah. And that's the issue. And then if you're not training it
Yeah.
over the years, like I can ride a bike, but am I good at it? Especially in Colorado mountains and like all that. If I'm not training it, I'm not like going to be confident in it. And it's the same thing with balance. When you start getting older, you lose your confidence. And it's a movement thing. And it's a movement pattern thing. And so I hated hearing the excuses. And this product that I'm launching took me 10 years to bring to market. But what I did at first was I started using wobble discs at my gym.
Like a
And
Bosu ball type thing?
not the Bosu ball. The Bosu ball is really heavy and it's a dome. And
Yeah.
being on a dome is very different than being on a flat surface per
Yes.
se. But you know the wobble discs that are like discs that PT people use and it's made out of really thick plastic?
Yes.
I bought, I don't know, 20, probably more than that, probably 40 for my gym because I wanted to incorporate balance. And I thought that that was like the easiest thing to do and the least expensive. A lot of the balance boards out there are made out of plastic or wood. They're
Hmm.
not forgiving. They're not approachable because of that. The wobble disc is somewhat approachable. People also use the mat, those little mats that like are
Hmm.
unstable too. Eventually it came to me and I traveled with the wobble disc once and I would only bring one, but you need two to really do a squat on it and stuff. And so I was like, this is the worst thing to travel with. I'm like, I need something that's an inflatable, deflatable, you could bring it anywhere. And I didn't want anybody to give me an excuse that they can't at least practice balance. Because I don't
Hmm.
care if you joined my gym, I just care if you moved correctly and you're well balanced as we age. That's the biggest thing. And foundationally, if you don't have strong balance, it's really hard to pick up anything heavy. And women in their menopausal age right now, it's hot, right? Hot topic. It's like we lose about 10% of our body mass, but more muscle mass than in our menopausal age, just like that. Right. And so we need to be able to lift heavy, but you need a strong foundation first.
But it's important for men as well as they get older.
100%. But I'm
Because
just being
yeah, I just want to make sure we're
biased.
not. I'm just making sure because I have a lot of guys that listen. I want to
Yeah.
make sure, God, we're not leaving you out, guys. Women, we're just a little different hormonally, and so things change, and it's super important. But this is also very important for men. It's
Yep.
important any way you go, and I think even we think maybe people who are fragile, but you and I are both athletes. We're not fragile by any means.
Right.
And I still, having had the all the issues on that right side, have to train balance And when I, like you said, when I don't keep it up, there's times I'll just let it go for a month or something. I really need to get back to those exercises I need to do to make sure that I'm developing the muscle and the balance evenly, because that's the problem. If you have something going on with your back, a lot of times it's going to go down a leg and you're going to have one leg that overcompensates. So to be able to do things that work that key balance in those areas, it's going to help with injury, help with recovery, which we don't think
Mhm.
about. And I just found such a difference when if I lay off of it or I forget or don't make that time for it, how quickly it goes away.
The
I'm
thing
like
is, it doesn't take
falling
long.
over.
Yeah. We start losing our balance, and if you're not training it, you lose it in your 20s. If you're not training it at all, by 40s and 50s, you've been sedentary for your job and driving and all the stuff, right? And
Mhm.
it comes back to the lifestyle, right? If you're not having that active lifestyle, then you're definitely not training balance. And
Oh, yeah.
so that's why there's a huge epidemic right now. And you're talking about unilateral training, right? You got to do, everybody has a dominant and non-dominant side, right? And it's good to know which one's dominant, which one's not. And there's an assessment test that we kind of created, and I can give you the outline of it for your people, but it goes over what you need to help you, right? Within the 4 pillars, because stability training is very different than agility. Agility
Yes.
training is very different than strength, which is very different than endurance. So you have proprioception going on within the balance, right? So there's all this mind body coordination going on top of those 4 pillars. And you have to train all 4 pillars to really be good at balance at the end of the day. And if you're not, here are the stats. And it's scary because I think that there's a true epidemic right now. These are all from the CDC. 1 in 4 Americans 65 plus fall each year. $50 billion annual costs of fall related injuries. 37 million.
The one thing that just struck me, all these Americans that fall every year, and I'm
Mhm,
thinking about, I feel like it's becoming an epidemic of the amount of
mhm.
osteoporosis we're seeing.
Bone density.
Yes, not in just, it used to be just elderly people, and it's not. And how much these falls, how much having bone density issues, you take these falls, you're at a much, much greater risk of severe damage. Doesn't mean you have to be in your 80s,
And
because
it's
again, we're
really hard
seeing
to
this younger.
recover after you fall
100%. So
as
that
we
that
age.
just struck me. Sorry, that keep going,
No,
because
but it's
that just
true.
struck me that wow, people are, there's a higher risk. There's a more frequency of this happening, and we are in a higher risk, which the majority of it is coming from lifestyle, from
Yep.
sitting on their butts, right? People sitting and not moving. I tell my clients 10 minutes, just walk for 10 minutes after a meal. Exercise of any type dials down the obesity gene FTO by 80%. And we'll talk more about that when you
That's
talk about the
crazy.
different
Yeah.
exercises. But it's that impactful. We know it's the biggest epigenetic modifier is exercise. Yeah, that really just struck me. So I had to say something there, because I was like, wow, one in 4 over 65. You're 50, I'm 60. And I'm going, I can't
100%.
picture myself in 5 years,
But
like
but
going
think about when
down.
you fall. Like when you fall, especially if you break something, it's so hard to recover because number one, your joints aren't that lubricated as we age. Number two, you already have probably a handful of other things that you dealt with over the years. So that on top of whatever happened at by the age of 65, and then breaking something, look at the annual costs associated with injuries.
Jesus.
That's
50,
huge.
over $50 billion.
Yep. And a lot of that is just like it could be preventative. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's like what I just want to get across. These stats are scary, like 37 million falls needing medical attention a year. That's huge. People go to PT, they go to physical therapy, they're told what to do. They
Mhm.
probably get coverage for 4 weeks or so. They go once a week, four
They're
times
gone.
that, and then they're not doing the exercises at home.
Mm-mm.
And going back to those excuses, I don't want to hear it, right? So I want to team up. I'm teaming up with personal trainers and PT people that are getting their clients to practice balance with them, but they're not practicing balance at home. So I wanted a tool, right? The Bosooth ball is like really heavy. It's a dome, it's different. These wobble discs were okay, but not quite there. So when I developed this product, I actually put 3 camping pillows. I sewed them together and I stood on them and it didn't hold me. So, because those pillows, like those mattresses, like their air just, it gets depleted right away, right? So I'm like, okay, great. So from square one, I worked with a product designer and 10 years ago created this mock-up, and along the way, I got the patent on it and I'm standing on it right now.
I wonder, I saw you moving. I'm on a ball and I thought she's moving too. What is she on? So she's actually on.
This is the Balero Board, everybody. This has water in it and it's got handles around it. And you can literally take it anywhere and just stand on it.
And it's
And
Balero, Balero. I spelled that, didn't I? I look at it every day. Balero.
yeah, like a ball and aerodynamic
Yes.
balance all together. But
Yep.
it's really cool because what I love about this, it's not impactful. Going back to bone density, we need to jump, right? As we age, we need to jump. And if you jump on the floor, a lot of people can't take that because of their hips or their knees or their ankles or whatever injury along the way, right? But with this thing, you're jumping on air.
Yeah.
And we add water to it to make it more stable, right?
Yep.
If you don't have water, it's not as stable. But either way, there's ways to increase the intensity or not. You could be seated and actually, like, I could be against a seated wall or in a chair and just hold it and work.
So what she's doing here for people who are just listening, she's in a wall squat position
Yeah,
with her feet on the board and then
yeah.
lifting, taking turns lifting each foot. So that's working the balance, but keeping the core very still.
Or you could be in a chair. I just was at a fitness expo and we went over a lot of new workouts that are coming out. You'd like this just because they're all new, innovative workouts, but a lot of people work out in a chair. They can't stand during a workout class, and that's okay too. You can actually work out on this, and if you lift one leg up, I came up with so many amazing ideas that you can do to work hip mobility or foot strength. You can also work a lot of core by sitting on it. It's a nice cushion too, right?
Yeah.
And you could decrease and increase the amount of air in it. So I'm actually decreasing the amount of air right now. Still got the water in it. And all of a sudden I feel a lot more core working because there's not as much air. And I can work my hip flexors this way.
Yep.
And
Which
if you
get tight when you're seated. When you're
yeah,
sitting so long, that's one of the reasons you'll get back pain is
yep,
because the hip flexors are stagnated and just tightened up. Yep, right across that
pressing
back.
your lower back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use this. I have a bunch of people using it like when they fly because they can't be on the plane long, right? Now standing on it with not that much air, I can feel gripping my feet more. So I can even work grip strength.
So this even if you do a sport like paddle boarding, I know when I'm paddling hard, I'll feel it in my feet
Yeah.
trying to grip. So that's actually a really good way to work with it's a great accessory to training because we think of training as going and doing running and doing the weights and everything. But these are fundamental little exercises that can really make the difference in your performance if you
Yeah.
are an athlete or, again, trying to recover. If you have something on one side, it's great for recovery so that you can bring that side back. I'll never be the same on the right ever because it's been too much. But when we're just squatting, 1, 2 leg squat, we don't pay attention whether we're leaning, because I guarantee you, unless you take a video and you'll see that you will overcompensate with one side. But when you're forced to work with the balance part of it, it takes all of that out. So not only can you just improve your fitness by working with balance, you can improve athletic performance, you can improve athletic recovery, injury recovery, and I think even injury prevention.
100%. And also range of motion.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like when I do a squat, and I'm going to show you, I just blew it up again, so it's got more air in it. But when I do a squat here, and I have my left ankle, which is your right now, left ankle is I broke it,
Okay.
and I never recovered fully. So I could feel my left being immobile. But
Mhm.
on air, on the board, I lean a little forward, but I get lower because I'm on a unforgiving, like a forgiving surface. Whereas a flat surface, hard plastic, whatever, concrete, it's not forgiving. So you can't get that range of motion, right? That's why a lot of people have go on elevated, do
Yes.
elevated spots or something like that.
Yeah.
So I have the mobility there. So now I can get more range of motion, which means more recruitment, muscle recruitment. And I'm more efficient with every rep I do instead of only going down a quarter way, halfway, or whatever. So especially with people that have tight hips or knee issues or ankle issues or unilateral issues like you do, like you could
Mhm.
probably lean a little bit to your dominant side and get a little deeper, overcompensate, but you're not overcompensating on a hard surface. So there's that kind of flexibility with using the Balero board.
Yeah. It's still what I see or hear from people, and I've experienced it myself, is after you've had an injury, you don't have that mobility there.
Yep.
You don't go to the gym and go, I need to be more mobile in this leg, but I'm just going to keep squatting. I'm just going to keep doing these lunges or whatever. And it's just opening you up to more injury if you don't work that mobility. And just training that really makes such a big difference.
Like
Achilles,
you were
right?
saying,
All that range of motion there.
100%. And like you were saying, it's a stacking thing.
Yeah.
It, you're running, your sport might be running or biking or pickleball or whatever, right? Who knows, right? But your sport could be whatever, but you need good balance. You need the four pillars of balance, right? Pickleball specifically, I'm seeing so many, it's like the new CrossFit with injuries.
Yeah. It's true.
Like,
I was a pickleballer too. I know.
I'm like,
I have
wow.
to just
All
say
right.
for everybody out there listening that's been listening a while, we talk to health types. Karen is another activator. And if you see her face, you'll see she's got the square jaw that most activators do, unlike me. I have the funky diplomat face, which is the longer one. But as soon as I saw her, it was like square jaw, and we got to talking, and she's shorter, has the shorter femur and just the athletic build. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And then talking about movement. And the funny thing is there's six health types, and they're the six priorities, health priorities, they differ in order for each of the health types. The activators, natural athletes, true mesomorph, are the only ones where fitness is number one and food is number two. We
Oh,
are
really?
made for movement. So just listening even to your young story, and I was a chunker too, it was like, but I was always moving, always
Yeah.
playing something. It was just I was eating crap that I
Yeah.
didn't know, right? We didn't know back then.
These 30s, you could get away with it, kind of, sort of, but by
Oh no, I was
40s,
still fat.
like,
I was all still like all over the place. But yeah, it's just really fun to hear like when someone's understanding the health types, and I've talked a lot about them on here, when they hear you talk about, and I'm trying this and big on a challenge, right? Because we run on testosterone and adrenaline. It's I have a challenge and I want to develop this because I need to do this better. I need
yeah,
to have this activity made better, more
yeah,
efficient so I can do more. And so it's just kind of cool on this little side note to hear you in true activator life. True
my like my
Owen.
brain goes always to like how do you optimize things?
Yes,
Like
exactly.
efficient, effective, optimized.
Yep.
And
That's
then
the
how do you
activators.
scale it, right? Yeah.
And
Well,
take
thank
action.
you.
What is the action you need to take to get there? Do you need every single detail? No. I need to know what's going to work, why, and then I'm going to do it. Or I will tell
Yeah,
you how to do it, which is
yeah,
why we're good coaches, because we can pull people out of a comfort zone and say, come on, do that. So it's
yeah.
just, yeah, I think that's another reason we gelled, but because I get you.
But
But it
I
was just
do,
fun to listen as you talk about all of this. It's just so activator. I love it.
I love it too. I need to learn more about this concept. So give me the podcasts that you talk about it specifically on.
On a lot of them. Start, and I'll
Yeah.
tell anybody here, if you are interested, go to episodes 1 and 2 with Dr. Cam. It's the best intro. And if you know what you are, pay attention. Even if you're a former client or a client or somebody new, it's a good refresher. Listen to your health type, but you are 100% activator.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't need to test you.
and I love that because I want to be active. Like I want what I'm trying to create is more of a active, like how do you scale activation, right? So if you're selling a product, and this is a little business specific, but if you're selling a product and you really want to sell it, like how do you scale it? As a
Mhm.
business owner, I owning a gym, we were down the road with a franchise model, and that's how you could scale a gym, right?
Sure.
But then COVID hit, and I was like, I'm more into CPG, which is consumer products goods. And I know how to kind of scale that, but I knew how to do it in food. Fitness is totally different. Now I'm like doing activations like the Hike Expo and like different like in-person demo activation so people understand why they need balance, why
Yes.
the Balero Board might make sense. And
Hmm.
more specifically is how do you incorporate in it into everybody's lifestyle, right? Going back to like
Yes.
lifestyle, right? It's got to be sustainable, right? Like with food, if you're on a diet like the Whole 30, great. 30
Mm,
days, eat
that's
clean,
sustainable.
100%, right? So
We've all
it's
done
like,
it.
how do you create more of a sustainable diet? Like I created
Mhm.
this challenge, which I love to do with people too. And you define what healthy food, nutrition means to you, right? But you have to have an idea of what you want to be as that person eating that way, right? And then same thing with fitness. What does fitness look to you? Like it looked totally different in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and now heading into my next half century. But like it looked totally different along the way. And how do you make it sustainable? For
Mhm.
me, it goes back to functional, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
functional training.
Yes.
And I believe functional is a combination of fun and educational. That is functional as a foundation for what you want to do every day. And in my mind now, it's all about that longevity piece.
And I think also just we're sitting talking about recovery from an injury and athletic performance or just balance, functional balance overall. I don't think anybody thinks about their weekend warrior activities, and it's summertime.
Yep.
Think about if you're someone with water sports or hiking. Like I said, just the other day, and the girl was like, my balance is terrible. What if you're going across a still snowy slope or mud or a bridge or these rocks across the water? If you lose it, you're going in or going
Yep.
down, right? And if you go down on a trail, I came across somebody's just the weirdest thing. I was up in Rocky Mountain National Park a couple of weeks ago, did a solo hike, and I'm coming down, and it's steep coming down with these big steps, and I'm like the mountain goat, right? I'm on my roll. I'm coming down. I come around this corner. I was like, whoa! There's a girl, young girl. These people were in their young 20s, probably 20, 21. Two guys, three girls. The one girl is just laying right in the middle of the trail. I almost fell on her, and I said, and the others are just sitting there, and no one's saying, they're just laying there, right? And I said, not a great place for a break or for
Yeah.
to stop.
Yeah.
And she said, I fell and I hurt
Oh,
my ankle. And I said, so you all just sit here? Can you walk?
yeah.
So she likely, I don't know if she broke it, but she's, I don't think I can stand on it. They were way up there
Yep.
coming
That's not
down a
good.
steep. You have to think about who you're with. how capable are they? But even if you're by yourself, can you balance enough if
Yeah.
you're doing something or on a mountain bike and you wipe out? Are you, if something happens to one leg, can you balance on the other? This sounds stupid, but yet it's not
No, and it's not, and you
at
have to
all.
practice it and you have to train. I was actually on a call this morning with somebody else that I met for at the Hike Expo, and she wants me to do a program specifically for, she has a hiking group and they're going out overnight and it's women in 40s, 50s, 60s. But number one, you have to ask yourself that question. Am I confident enough to go on an overnight hiking trip? If you've never done it before, you don't have the confidence in your 50s and 60s to do that. You don't, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm confident because I've been training hiking ever since I moved to Colorado. And that was
Hmm.
like 30 years ago. But so I'm creating a program for them. And what was interesting, like, I've just posted this on my, if you guys are just listening, you could go to my Instagram, but it's like balance training helps improve, right? And this is me on the board, right? Stability coordination.
With your poles, with your
Yep.
trekking poles.
I have my trekking poles and it goes over why balance matters, but it's specifically for maybe the hiker who doesn't realize, oh, they need stability, right?
Oh,
They need
so much
coordination.
so.
But it's at the end of the day, it's because you also want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's important to like practice balance because that just builds confidence.
Yeah.
My gym was called Bella Strength because I wanted to specifically teach women how to strength train. And now you do need to learn how to strength train, but first you need to learn how to balance. And you
Hmm.
need those four pillars in order to build the confidence and lift heavy, right? But if you don't have the balance, you shouldn't even think about lifting heavy.
And your Instagram is Balero Board.
Yeah,
Just
Balero Board.
Balero
Yep.
Board.
Yes.
So that's the Instagram where you can go and see some examples. Now on your, but again, I think it's, we have to train not just to train or not just for a specific sport, but to train around everyday life. Balance
Life.
on ice if you live somewhere in the winter where it gets icy or slippery with, again, mud, excessive rain.
Yeah.
All these things we never think about or just take for granted walking out the door.
Yep.
But balancing the balance to carry, if everybody else is like me,
Well,
I don't want
farmers
to make
carry.
10 trips with the groceries. I balance like all this stuff on me, right?
I know. I'm
And you
like,
feel it coming
I'm
up
all
steps.
about optimize. So I want one trip with lots of heavy bags.
This is why I did CrossFit. This is why I
Yeah.
could go up steps. But it's true. All of those things are things you train. And this is what we're talking about, being functional, because it makes your life easier, not harder. Why do we think that all elderly people need help? And I'll get the big things of cat litter at the pet store, and they're like, "Do you need help to your car?" I'm like, "Nope." Yeah, they
Yeah.
just think anybody older might need
Yes.
help to their car. Why? Because we have let that go with people, that
100.
if you get older, you become more frail. I am here to prove that we can become stronger and more fit. And it doesn't mean that you have to crush yourself doing it, but body weight exercises. And you were showing me other exercises that I've been doing also for low back on there. You can do Superman on top of the Balero board, which works on that balance with the low back, where again, so many people have issues with the freaking low back. You can do push-ups on
Mhm.
there. You can put your hands on there. You can put your feet up there. So you're helping to work balance, because you may need that balance to push yourself off the floor if you do go down, or if you're playing on the ground with your grandkids,
Yep.
or like I said, just we have out of shape younger people. What are you going
Well,
to do when
okay.
you go
So the
down like
prime
the girl on the
example,
trail?
everybody travels, right? How many people do you see on the plane? I would say at least 20, 25%, if not more, can't lift their suitcase overhead.
Nope. Nope.
Maybe it's even 50%. I would love to know randomized tests, like but you know, it's lifting something from the ground overhead, right?
Yes.
And if you, that is like the prime example of if you can't do that, then you know that you need to train strength, right? And literally core to floor activation, which is hugely important. And core to floor or ground to core. It's like both you got to think about. But if people aren't doing that correctly, they're going to hurt themselves
Oh,
and or they're going to ask for help. And specifically for me, I don't want to be that person that asks for help. Especially I have a 2-year-old, right? And I need to be that support for her at least for the next 20, 30, 40 years. So that's why I'm really focused on functional movement because it is that suitcase. Carry
absolutely.
a suitcase, lift. It's think about a suitcase and then think about whatever awkward object you want to lift, right? You know, dog food and cat litter and stuff.
I have those glass Pyrex containers. They're heavy and
Yep.
I stack them and I actually put them on a second shelf for that purpose of
Practice.
I have to lift them. I put them on the lower. I don't have to go as far, but I want to make sure that I'm always just take that extra step and think about for women, especially that live alone, again, that aren't big into weight training and stuff, be functional.
Yep.
Be functional, be able to do these things, to lift something up, to put it overhead, to pick it up off the ground safely, right?
Yep.
Which is basically a deadlift.
Yep.
That doesn't mean lifting a car, people. It means suitcase,
But my biggest
anything.
concern there is owning a gym, seeing people's movement. I feel like I'm a movement specialist, not
Mhm.
any kind of letters at the end of my name, but the amount of people that I have trained and have been in front of and have seen people move, the biggest thing is they don't know how to pick it up correctly because they never learned.
Yeah.
So you have people that are incorrectly moving because they didn't learn at a young age how to move correctly, right? I would recommend everybody, you know, take like a gymnastics 101 or a squat 101 or a hinge 101, depending on how you want to move your body. Like at the end of the day, you need to learn how to suitcase deadlift.
Yep.
You need to learn how to push because the one thing that I know for a fact, women tend to push overhead with
Mhm.
chest up, butt out.
Yep.
And
And yep, that stresses the back and the core.
yep, it
Yep.
disengages the core and puts a lot of tension and extra stress on the back for sure.
Yes.
And so you have to think core to floor activation. My thing is like rib cage down, lengthen your spine, draw that belly button down. Now, the biggest thing is the hips. It's not like a tight squeeze, like you're activating your butt like really hard, like you're constipated. It's a little tuck. You should feel it in your glutes, but not like a squeeze. You should feel an activation. Glute activation is huge. People don't know how to activate
Yes.
their glutes. I would say probably 1 out of 10 people that I've trained over the years know how to activate their glutes correctly. If
Mhm.
you don't have that glute activation, you're not going to get the core activation. And then once you have that core, you go down the body and you really have to activate to the floor. The biggest thing I see now too is those soles that people use.
The what?
The soles, like foot soles in their shoes, the soles are,
Oh, insoles. Yes.
or like just the sole of people's shoes. Like
Yeah.
I have these beautiful sandals, but I don't wear them all the time. I usually wear, I think you saw me in the 5-toe shoe.
Yes. Yes.
I use palubas, or I'll just be barefoot doing my workouts and stuff,
Mhm.
especially balance training, because you want to activate to the floor and you can't do that in a really thick sole.
I
Can't.
use the Bolero. I always do in bare feet. And it's
Yeah.
harder. I'm
Yeah.
very flat-footed, so that throws my balance off
Yeah.
because I tend to go to the inside
But you
of
know
my
what it
foot.
does? It helps activate a lot of the stabilizers
Exactly.
that
That's what
were
I'm
never
saying.
working.
Yep. That's
Yep.
why I'll do that in the bare feet. because I
Yep.
can feel it normally trying to do something. And then I go on, I'm like, wow, if this changes the whole dynamic of how I'm doing this by
Yep.
doing it in the bare feet. Big
And
time.
like the biggest viral thing for balance right now, and I'm sure you have your people doing it or you've talked about it, but standing on one leg, brushing your teeth.
No, but I will.
It's like the little biohack to practice people's balance.
Now I'm gonna have to bring mine in the bathroom
Yeah.
to do
So
this.
I'm showing an Instagram post that I did of just balancing on the Balero board, brushing my teeth. But it's something that you do every day is brush your teeth.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have the Balero board, totally fine. You just balance on one leg, brush your teeth, right?
And I love this because hubby walks in right in the middle there, and it's just like any other day. Anybody else would come in and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he comes in, "Oh, she's on her board. Yeah, it's all good." It's just
I
like
mean,
just so nonchalant.
it is. I'm on my board doing dishes. I got to make it fun and functional, right? So
Yeah.
I'm doing the dishes anyway. I might as well be on air and it feels good instead of just barefoot or something.
God, I haven't even thought there's so many ways to use this now that I haven't even thought of. And I put it away when I'm done with my stuff. But I've tried, as I try different things on there, I'm like, this is harder. this
Yeah,
this hurts. But in a good way. This is where it hurts so good because you feel things activating that you don't otherwise feel activating. And that's what has been surprising to me because I'm in great shape. I'm fit. So to feel these things when I'm just because I have a leg up on a
yeah,
board and another leg down and I'm coming down into a squat, you talk about activating a glute.
yeah,
And it's true. We don't think about that. That was something when I got my glute med tear, where my PT at the time, he said, You're not activating your glutes." So I had to go through the whole thing on how to activate glutes. And I'll even activate them going up a hiking trail because I said, this is what's going to keep me going, not the quad here. We don't think about it. So it's just super important. But
what
that
I
was just
want to do next is because pelvic floor is a big conversation now, right?
yes.
So I have a couple pelvic floor specialists that I'm working with
Okay.
about, yeah, I'm working with about activating your pelvic floor using the Balero board because there's a lot of different things that you can do through your core into your pelvic floor, but down to the floor to activate certain muscles. And what you brought up that is it's dead on. It's a feedback mechanism.
Yeah.
So when you do banded squats, I have so many people do
Yep.
banded squats because then you know how you're tracking your knees correctly, the tension, the not tension, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same thing, the Balero board. It's like it's a feedback mechanism for you to activate correctly. And then once you do that habitually over time, it will be habitual, right? But you have to make it a habit. You have to start incorporating just stacking, right? It's like a couple minutes a day here, a couple minutes a day here. What are your pain points and how can we give you some of the tools to help relieve that?
And the other thing I love about it, it's not something, again, there's a lot of people pressed for time and they're going, I can't make 10 minutes of my day. Okay, you can take two
Yeah,
here and there. Everybody can take 2 minutes. Like you said, doing dishes, something. You're moving. I had one expert say, you're on a ball, you're getting movement, right? It's all about the movement. So it's not something that you have to take 40 minutes and go
right.
do a workout
No,
to to see some improvement here.
what's the stat now? I think you're supposed to do maybe 40 jumps a day or something like that. I don't know exact number, but you're supposed to
I have
jump
no
every day.
idea. Okay.
But if
What
you,
if you have bladder issues?
I mean, 100%, but not even bladder issues. What if you have knee
Knee
issues
issues? Yeah.
and joint issues and you can't
Low
jump,
back?
right?
Yeah.
Go back. So you have to take the impact out. So what if you just bounce on the Balero board for a couple minutes a day? That trampoline, yeah, gets
Hmm.
the endorphins going. It's low impact, but you're still getting the bone impact, which is what
Yes.
you need as your bone density decreases.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one of those mini tramps. It's a great hanger in my closet. It literally is on the legs. I have the legs sticking out. I have it on its side. The legs stick out. One holds on my light colored hats, one holds on my dark colored, and then the two are where my when I take something off a hanger, the hangers go there. That's what that's for. I haven't been able to. I need to give it away, but I like it too much as an extra rack in my closet. I much prefer the Balero board. It doesn't. Hey, I had a hysterectomy when I was 26.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that bouncing, I'm like, when I start on that trip, I'm like a minute in going, oh my God, I have to pee. It's
Yeah.
probably TMI, but hey, it's raw, real relatable here, people. I go, so it's too much for me.
Yeah.
I could do it for a little bit, but it's too much when you have to get off 3 times to go to the bathroom. But
Yeah.
to bounce like on my belt on this here doesn't bother me. So on the ball chair, if you didn't see the video, I just was bouncing up and down on my ball chair. But and the same with the Balero board. The same, it's very similar to this ball chair.
Yep.
That gentle bounce, that doesn't get my bladder going. The
No,
tramp
100.
gets my bladder going.
Yeah, because it's not as gentle, right?
No,
But that's why we have to team up with a pelvic floor specialist so we can. I had some surgeries down there too, and yeah, the scar tissue and like all that,
so
like
much.
you have to work through that.
Oh, I love the rawness of this podcast. That's what I say. Nothing's off limits. If anybody, we just talk about whatever, but I bring my life into it because it's humorous and it is what it is. And just like
It's
you said,
real.
you've had the same thing happen to you. We're all human, and there's more people that have some funky issues. You think you're the only one, and it's no, there's quite a few of us out there that do have these things. And to feel that, oh, someone gets to me and I'm pretty normal doesn't mean I'm a freak that I get on a mini tramp and have to pee.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's one of those things where it's better to talk about it than not. And I feel like
Exactly.
the whole menopause conversation that is drawing everybody out of closets and talking about there's a conversation around it, and we're finally having it because
Yes.
our parents' generation, they didn't know what it was.
No, they just
One.
knew they got hot flashes
Yeah.
and that it was the change.
Yeah.
The change. You had the period early that nobody really talked about either.
Yep.
And then you had the change.
Yep.
She's going through the change. But you didn't know what the hell it was.
No.
It was just the change. So
Yeah.
I think it's great that a whole dialogue is out there. And I've had some great podcasts on it as well, because not every woman has the same exact symptoms the same way
I
or
had my
responds.
practitioner, I had all my tests done, and it took me literally a year. I just went through this huge transition professionally. I left my full-time career in fitness doing this Balero Board thing and had our kid and all this. And needless to say, it took me a year to do the saliva, the pee, and blood because I didn't want to know the results. I just knew that I was not feeling myself.
Yourself. Yes. Yes.
The
Yeah.
change was happening to me.
Absolutely. The beauty in the change is it doesn't, and people want to keep doing the same things they had been doing, the women, but I've been doing training this way for years. Okay, now we just adjust. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you can't get better or be optimal again. You just have to adjust with the body, and then it's amazing how you can thrive.
Yeah.
For so many years, older ladies were like, put my age 60, you're put out to pasture. And one of my favorite hiking partners is 15 years younger than me,
Yep.
and we rock on the trail. And I go, it's not an age thing, it is a adaptability thing. I know how to train for me, and
Yep.
I do these pillars, and I'm thankful that I picked up your product to try it out. And I was picking things up that day to try them out and see how they do. And I'm very honest on my show if I say something doesn't really work that well, but it's
With the
it's made a difference. No, I
it's the
didn't get the
bad So this is, I think you were at their booth. It was Rad Rollers,
Yes, Rad Roller. No, I got their foot one,
yeah,
the football,
okay,
the little ball that goes under your foot. Again, for flat feet coming off a 10-mile hike. I come home and I roll on that. And then the long roller, what I love about their roller, it has a groove in the middle so I can go down my spine and it's not pressing on my spine. So
yeah.
that's been gold. So the hiking expo, it didn't have a whole lot like per se for hiking, and it was very small, but I was like, I found you and I found the rad roller. I was like, it worked. I was happy.
But it is the little things that you have to, again, it's not a whole fitness class on this or a whole hour of mobility or whatever. It's the little things every day. And it goes back to lifestyle and it goes back to sustainability. Because if you're not going to fit it into your lifestyle and your schedule changes, in my 20s, it was totally different than it is now. I could work out for
Absolutely.
2 hours, 3 hours, taught 4 classes a day, had that energy, right? Now it's no, not so much, nor do I want to. At the end of the day, it was like, okay, how do you optimize it? How do you make it efficient and effective and incorporate it into every day? So I'm not like, oh, like trying to squeeze it in or just being like, I don't feel like doing it anymore because I had to do it like I was doing it in my 20s, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
You
I
have to
think
evolve.
evolve. That's what it is because we don't stay the same. We change, so we have things have to change with us. But we're also different.
Yeah.
And every type of training, CrossFit's not for everybody. I did activators, connectors, the bomb. Ideal for us. We are made for those bursts of energy, the strength, the power, agility, all of that. Great. For a lot of other types, not ideal. That
Yeah.
intensity, right? And that's okay. You have to train what's best for your body to get the
Mhm.
best results. Do it at the right times. That's such a key. But when it comes to balance training, that can work for everybody. If
Yeah.
you are a sensor and they're the hard gainers, they're long, they're lean, they're think ballerinas, right? Pilates, flow. What do you
Mhm.
need there? Balance. You think
Mhm.
about a football player. They
Mhm.
need balance. They train balance. There's no health type that balance doesn't matter.
Yeah.
None. Your
Hey,
triathletes, all of this.
balance matters. That's my
Balance. And that matches my shirt. Look at that. We were in sync today, Karen. Oh,
That's
what a
kind of
good
my
conversation.
tagline. People don't realize that balance actually matters until
It
they
doesn't.
get injured
Yeah.
or they fall and they can't recover. And it's when you fall, you need to know how to fall. Like when I learned how to snowboard, because I grew up skiing and in college, I started learning, I had to learn how to fall
Hmm.
because it was everybody falls, like bottom line, right?
Yep.
Even hiking, you have to learn how to fall.
Yep.
You have to train stability and agility. Agility is being able to fall correctly, like actually putting your hand out, falling forward instead of back, or whatever that looks like. But, and any sport you do, you're going to fall,
Yep.
especially because it's probably new to you in the beginning, right? Even the professional soccer players, I don't know if you've been watching the World Cup, but
They all fall. They know how to do.
they
They
know how
even
to.
trained us on how to fall and get up in the police academy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had a whole thing how to if you go down, how to flip backwards, like roll backwards. And in the PFT, the physical fitness test up in Montana, one of the things in the obstacle was to mimic being in a fight where you get knocked down. You had to be start standing and go back, fall back, stand up, fall down, stand up 6 times. Get back on your
So
feet quickly. That's and
that,
then go
and
across a balance beam. So think about what's your job. Do you need balance? Firefighter with the big ass hose.
functionality. That's like
Yeah,
if you're a parent, a grandparent, whatever, it's just getting up, getting down. But it's a love-hate relationship because I know they're functional, right? It
I
is
love
just
them.
getting up from the floor That's a functional movement.
It is. It is.
So number one functional movement that I love to do, and I'm just going to show it really quickly because it's one of the things that I think everybody should be practicing. It's called a get up, and
Yes.
literally getting up and down from the floor. On the Balero board, it's nice because it's actually a cushion and it's elevated because a lot of times people don't have the mobility in their hips
Okay.
get up, right? So if you're on the board, you can rock forward and back and you can get up. So I would say recommend people first to just do some sit-ups, right? It's going to be hard for them to get up at first. And eventually they'll get the momentum, maybe the range of motion. And I'm trying here
To
to
stand
get
up.
up.
And yeah, we did it. So again, if you're an athlete, to be able to do a pistol, a one leg
Yep,
squat,
yep.
that was hard.
Oh, 100%. But there's ways to train that. The one
Yeah.
thing that I get so frustrated with people, especially because when I traveled, I went to every CrossFit gym there was out there, and just onboarding and progressions or degressions on movements, right? You're not going to be able to do a pistol for the first time,
No.
but there's ways to increase intensity and progress to it if you really want to do a pistol. Does everybody have to do a pistol? No. But you should be able to do a single leg chair squat
Mhm.
with maybe some support. But you should be able to do that because unilateral training again is okay. You do that on the right, you can do that on the left. But single leg chair support, great way to learn how to balance.
Yes.
Increase the intensity, put a Balero board underneath you. Okay, now you're balancing. Now you're recruiting more muscles, and maybe you can get to that pistol. Now, how
Hmm.
do you get more range of motion? Blah, blah, blah. But the one thing that I think that is missing in the fitness world is really good progressions. And that was my biggest thing when I started my gym was I came from this CrossFit world and it was like just do this. And I'm not knocking CrossFit because I love CrossFit. But grandpa is not going to just do this when it comes to a snatch or a clean and jerk or pull up, right? Onboarding needs to be just a little longer. At my gym, you had to take at least 6 to 8 personal training sessions before you jumped into group fitness
Hmm.
because when you're in our classes, you have a barbell. It's to be fair to the entire community, right? The coaches, the clients, everybody, that that person knows how to use the barbell, what weight they should put on, where the progression is if we're working pull-ups or if we're working deadlifts or whatever that looks like. Is their range of motion not great? So you have to elevate the plate. So whatever that looks like, they knew what they needed to do when they jumped into class. Plus, they knew how to get the weight because the setup's the biggest thing. It's like I
It
see
is.
people get
Yes.
injured just by carrying the kettlebell to do the workout instead of swinging the kettlebell. But you had to get onboarded. And that's the thing going back to confidence and lifestyle is if you're not doing it, you're not going to be confident when you have to do it.
Yeah. So true.
And when you're doing things out there anytime, walking on ice, hiking when there's snow or whatever,
Just
then
rocks.
yeah,
You're always losing your footing.
100%.
You're going to go down. I mean,
Especially with the amount of like the bad shoes that there are out there. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
even when you're out late at night and you got heels on and you gotta walk home after a couple drinks or something, that's balance, right?
Balance matters.
Yeah.
What a fun conversation, but so informative. And again, I love bringing to light something that nobody's talking about. Is it with me with personalized health, the precision personalized health through the epigenetic platforms I use? I say nobody's talking about this, like chronobiology, doing the right things at the right time. Balance here with you. No one's talking. I don't hear anybody talking balance specific ever and how important this is. You'll hear some things in some of the longevity people talk about the grip strength and they'll throw balance in there, but they don't talk about training balance specifically and why. So I'm just so grateful that we met and that you were able to come on and give this information to the listeners, because I think they're going to hopefully take heed and start making this part of their lifestyle. And I'm going to talk to my clients about it as well. So if someone wants to reach out to you or look at the Balero board, and do you have exercises specific to the Balero board as well that they'll be
Yes.
able to
So I
find?
have the BaleroBoard.com is where you can find us. And there's a lot of just there's a movement library with over 100 moves that you can do with the Balero board, with the resistance bands, with if you want to add weight, blah, blah, blah. But I would just stick with the basic moves first. And Instagram, I post a lot about that. I'm just launching, so I'm really trying to get other practitioners or people that are really into balance to start talking about balance. I feel like the trend is happening. I feel like even longevity segment and other segments, like people are talking that balance matters, but they're not training it.
Yes.
And I feel like now it's that tipping point of people realizing how important it is and then trying to incorporate it into their lifestyle, because it doesn't take much, but it does take consistency. And so a couple minutes here, there, a couple times a week, if you're standing at a desk using kind of a board to help you balance there. But at the end of the day, I do feel like people are talking about it, but you're right in that I don't think that people have the right tools in their toolbox to train balance, which is why I really developed this, because I wanted to give people a right tool in their toolbox to train balance. And something that I wouldn't hear that excuse, oh, I'm traveling or whatever. I'm like, I work out the airport. You could see me at DIA for the most part, just working out at the airport instead of going to the bar, doing a quick mobility session, or just even sitting on it in line to get on the plane. I'll use it as a cushion. It's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. And like you said, just doing the dishes. I'm going to literally start doing this.
Yeah.
Because you're working your core, you work in everything. And brushing my teeth, because I have the 2 minutes with the electric toothbrush, with the Oral-B electric toothbrush, 2 minutes, another 2 minutes with the water pick, and then flossing, and that could be interesting. Now, okay, so here's the activator. This could be a challenge now.
That's the going back to functional, right? Fun and educational. Like, it's not going to be sustainable unless people make it fun.
Yes,
like
exactly.
That's my number one goal with working out with people and coaching and all that stuff. It's not going to be sustainable if people don't like it. And also, if they can't incorporate it into their already busy schedule and see the benefits, then they're not going to do it either. But if you can make it fun, maybe they'll try to incorporate it. And then once they do that, then it could be a game with them on like, okay, now can I lift one leg? Now can I do a pistol squat?
I might have to record that. I might have to record my toothbrushing or something, like you did. I won't have anybody walk in, but I'm definitely going to have some fun with it. I am so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. Everything she's provided, we'll have all the links in the show notes, her complete bio in the show notes. I don't even think we said your last name. I think I was remiss in that.
Karen Harbour.
My bad. Bad host, but good conversation. So that's what matters the most. So it's all in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, please, please share, subscribe, but share this podcast. Let's get the word out how important balance is. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun, but it could literally save a life. And we're doing more and more podcasts like this, that one little thing could make that difference for you or somebody you love. So get out there and do it. Now, get out there, make it a great day, and be your most authentic self. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, I'd love for you to share it with someone who'd find the information useful. Please leave a review anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it'll help the information get out to others. If you're interested in seeing if we're a great fit to work together, the link is in the show notes below where you can sign up for a free consultation with me. So go make it a great day and let your authentic self shine.